Welcome to the 2021 virtual Palmetto Media Connection Social. It's a blessing for you to join us on today as Palmetto Media Connection honors two of the Midland's well-deserved honorees. Before we go into our program, allow me to speak just a little bit on Palmetto Media Connections. Palmetto Media Connections started in 2010 as Columbia's Midlands Media Social, founded by members Michelle Harris, Brandy Cummins, and the late Frederick Knight, as we all know as the microphone doctor, who was employed with the Big DM 101.3 FM. And of course, myself, Lauren Grant. So, PMC aims to bridge the gap between media professionals and the community through outreach programs and events. PMC members are broadcast professionals with a passion for community service and a desire to give people in the community a voice and dedicated to address community needs. Palmetto Media Connection has done outreach in the community by providing over $850 in gift cards, provided families with meals for Thanksgiving, has provided breakfast for Richland County School District 1 Lower Richland bus drivers who transport our precious cargo to and from school every day. And of course, our Palmetto Media Connection has donated to the Future Leader Scholarship Fund, which is run by Glory Communications. And of course, we've also awarded Icons Awards to Mr. Don Frison for his excellence in broadcasting and dedication to the community, the Carolina Panorama for their excellence in print and dedication to the community, and Palmetto Media Connection remembers those who has passed on by giving their loved ones a token of appreciation for their service in the community. Broadcasts like the Reverend Isaac Hayward, formerly announcer of WGCV, Glory Communication, and sportscaster Bob Shields from News 19. And that I'm aware of, we've lost two great people, outstanding. Welcome to the 2021 virtual Palmetto Media Connection Social. It's a blessing for you to join us on today as Palmetto Media Connection honors two of the Midland's well-deserved honorees. Before we go into our program, allow me to speak just a little bit on Palmetto Media Connections. Palmetto Media Connections started in 2010 as Columbia's Midlands Media Social, founded by members Michelle Harris, Brandy Cummins, and the late Frederick Knight, as we all know as the microphone doctor, who was employed with the Big DM 101.3 FM. And of course, myself, Lauren Grant. So, PMC aims to bridge the gap between media professionals and the community through outreach programs and events. PMC members are broadcast professionals with a passion for community service and a desire to give people in the community a voice and dedicated to address community needs. Palmetto Media Connection has done outreach in the community by providing over $850 in gift cards, provided families with meals for Thanksgiving, has provided breakfast for Richland County School District 1 Lower Richland bus drivers who transport our precious cargo to and from school every day. And of course, our Palmetto Media Connection has donated to the Future Leader Scholarship Fund, which is run by Glory Communications. And of course, we've also awarded Icons Awards to Mr. Don Frison for his excellence in broadcasting and dedication to the community. The Carolina Panorama for their excellence in print and dedication to the community. And Palmetto Media Connection remembers those who has passed on by giving their loved ones a token of appreciation for their service in the community. Broadcasts like the Reverend Isaac Hayward, formerly announcer of WGCV, Glory Communication, and sportscaster Bob Shields from News 19. And that I'm aware of, we've lost two great people, outstanding people in the industry. Mr. Bill Terrell, prayers and comfort thoughts goes out to his family, and of course Miss Michelle Austin. We also continue to lift her family up as well. So Palmetto Media Connections have done quite a bit of work in the community, and also thinking of those media icons that has gone on that we are not aware of. Our current members are Mr. Jamal Bates, Miss Sierra Artemis, Mr. Jay Johnson, Miss Marissa Edmonds, myself, Lauren T., and of course, Michelle Harris. Half of the PMC team, operates a radio station, which is Columbia's Praise, 97.9 FM and 1170 AM, and online at columbiaspraise.com, owned by the Meeting Place Church of Greater Columbia with founder, Pastor Bishop Eric J. Freeman. And of course, PMC plans are to continue to bridge the gap between the media and communities. Stay with us, because at the end of the program, we are giving away 3 gift cards. And of course, at the end of the program, we will tell you how. Right now, I'm going to turn it over to our host, who is a well-known broadcast announcer as well. And he's doing big things for his community and the stations that he represents. This is Mr. Jamal Bates.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jamal Bates, a member of the Palmetto Media Connections team here in Columbia, South Carolina. And today I have the honor of speaking with a legend right here in Columbia, South Carolina. Please say hello, everyone, and welcome to our broadcast today, Mr. Brent Johnson. Brent, how you doing, man?
Doing great. A legend that would last till lunchtime, but I'll take it.
Listen, we're excited to have you here, man. You are one of our honorees this year, Brent. And Palmetto Media Connections, of course, was started by our good friend, our colleague, Lauren Grant. And he's always looking to honor people like yourself who have been doing media, not only in Columbia, but in South Carolina and over the world, as a matter of fact, for a while now, man. Talk a little bit about, how you maybe landed here in Columbia, and we'll go from there.
Well, I started when I was a teen in Elberton, Georgia, running the board for Atlanta Braves baseball games. I was just 15 years old, and radio was everything that I loved. I loved music, I loved sports, and I loved radio. I loved listening to the radio. So I knew exactly. I mean, when I was 8, 9 years old, I used to walk around with a newspaper, read it out loud, and I'd put my turntable with my sister's turntable, and I was practicing back then, so I knew what I was going to do. But that led me through the University of Georgia. Worked in Athens at the flagship station there, WRFC. Then I went to Anderson. I worked in Albany, Georgia for a while. That didn't work out too well. Then I went to Anderson, and then what was then, I guess, Z103.
Okay.
Was a top 40 station. They wanted to change it to oldies. Wow. And a guy named Ed Shane out of Houston, Texas, hired me from Anderson and brought me into Columbia. That was 1989. I've been here ever since.
Wow, 1989. Wow. What about radio has fascinated you about loving radio? Because I much like you, I knew from an early age that radio was what I wanted to spend my life doing. So what about you? What really, made you want to choose radio? What about it kind of caught your eye and caught your ear?
It was, it was just the idea of being entertaining without being seen.
Gotcha.
At that time, everything was theater of the mind.
Right.
And I was a jokester, and so to be able to do some of my voices and skits and write comedy or write serious or whatever it was, that was fascinating to me. And some of the people, the national personalities like a Casey Kasem would do his countdown and all that stuff, and that in sports play-by-play. I grew up a Georgia fan. I'm a big Gamecock fan now too, but because I ended up working for the Gamecocks later on their broadcast. But Larry Munson was a superstar for the Georgia Bulldogs play-by-play, and I would impersonate him. I would get up on Saturday morning and get my football in hand as a kid and wait for Larry Munson to come on the radio and call those games. And the idea that I could do that for a living myself, forget the living part, I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I started wanting the paycheck later.
Right.
It was just a matter of getting involved. And that's how I was able to evolve, is because I took internships. I took hourly jobs just to be around. I know you did too.
Right. Yeah. Radio is you have to love it to be in it. You have to love it to be in it. So you got to Columbia in 1982. Is that right?
1989.
89. Okay, cool. So you're in Columbia. It's 1989. You're in Columbia. I'm sure at that time, you're trying to get your feet wet. Talk about your journey when you got to Columbia in 1989.
It was so interesting because I was 25 years old, and I was charged with putting an oldie station on the air, which all the music was older than me.
Wow.
So I was heavily relying on a guy named Ed Shane, who just saw something in me where he thought I could do this. And a guy named Barry Brown was my first general manager, and he believed in me too. They weren't sure that oldies was going to work, so much so that the reason they named it WOMG, which is still the call letters, was so that they could call it Magic 103. It was originally called Magic 103, so that if oldies didn't work out, they could fall back to an adult contemporary format and call it Magic 103. So, but I was working with legends that I didn't know were legends at the time. Steve Walker had been at WCOS for years. It was my first morning man there. Casey Carson, who I got to work with for many, many years through several formats. And after Steve Walker left, my next morning guy was Leo Wyndham, one of the legendary Wyndham brothers. I'd heard about him, but I didn't have a chance to work with him because I was young and just moved to town. Wow. So throughout that, Hunter Herring, did afternoons. So I got to work with all these guys, but they were new guys to me, but I got to know very quickly that they were legends in the market. So I learned as much from them as I don't know if they learned anything from me, but I certainly learned the music. And it was fun for me to do the oldies format, because just about every song that I didn't know, I knew a lot of them because they were classics, but for the ones I didn't know, I was like, I had no idea the Hard to Handle was done by Otis Redding before it was done by the Black Crowes later on. It was fun to discover the original versions.
Wow. And you spent a lot of your years, folks know, in Columbia at a Cumulus station in town. And then you had an opportunity now to take your talents to help out a new station that came to Columbia. Talk about that experience from being, from leaving, from leaving from the Cumulus station where you were to now, helping a new station that's in town, help them, get known and so forth and so on.
Well, quickly about Cumulus, I started when it was not Cumulus. It was Bloomington, and then it became Citadel. And then after it went bankrupt, it became Citadel 2. And then it became Cumulus. And then after bankruptcy, it became Cumulus 2. So somehow I survived all that. But during that time, though, I went from just doing mornings on B106 to becoming program director there, then program director again of OMG. When I left OMG to go to B106, B106 ended up buying OMG. So by the time I left, I was programming 4 of the 5 radio stations there, doing a sports show, doing a morning show on B106. And for 17 years, I did Gamecock football. And in that corporate environment, it was time to go do something new. So after I left there, Midlands Media Group, a small locally owned company, only has 2 radio stations and 1 digital newspaper that's great called coladaily.com. They have 94.3 The Dude, which is country, and they hired me to help them put on a new station called 93.1 The Lake, which is feel good favorites. It really says that's our positioning statement, but that's really what it is. The format is songs that make you feel good, especially in this day and age, escaping from everything.
Right.
A place to go where we're not pounding about politics and about all the span in the world. You get the information, it's just no drama.
Yep.
And it has taken off beyond our wildest dreams.
Wow. Talk about how radio has changed, and we know it's changed since the time you first began to now. And I'm sure it's become easier for you as well. But just talk about the technology changes that radio has experienced.
Yeah, when you said what's changed, the first thing you gave me was technology. I started out playing singles and albums.
Wow, yeah.
And then I went to carts and reel-to-reel, and then to CDs, and then to computer, and now all kinds of crazy software and everything. You used to have to be manned 24/7, 7 days a week in order to stay on the air during that time. And I worked at some smaller stations where you just cut it off at 11 o'clock at night and cranked it back up at 6 the next morning. So definitely technology it's been good and bad, depending on how you look at it. It certainly has cut the talent pool because you don't have to have somebody there all the time. And the best training grounds for anybody was nights and weekends and overnights, and cut out a lot of part-time jobs, things of that nature. But definitely the technology is the thing that has changed the most.
Wow. We're chatting today with Brent Johnson. Brent is one of our awardees this year for Palmetto Media Connections. Talk to that person who may be listening, who may be watching and listening right now, Brent, who is thinking about getting into radio, who has been bitten now by that radio bug that you and I were bitten by years ago. Talk to that young person right now listening and watching, saying, hey, maybe I want to do radio. What kind of advice would you give them to do radio?
Well, when I get asked this, I want to say up front, it's a joke. When I get asked that, first thing I always say is run away.
Right.
But no, if you're serious about it, the difference now is you need to aspire to learn everything about every medium that's associated with it, not just radio. Content is king in everything. If you make it interesting, people will listen and they will watch. But obviously, social media is a huge part of it now. Learn all of it. Learn to master all of it. And I think one of the reasons I've been able to stay relevant as an older broadcaster is every new piece of equipment that's come into existence during my time period, I learned it. I learned how it worked. I learned how to fix it, learned how to connect it.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be like a junior engineer to be a program director anymore. You've got to pay attention to what's going on. And I would suggest people do that about every format that's available that has audio attached to it. Podcasting, anybody can do it. It comes back to having the content. And can you connect the dots to that? Can you take a radio broadcast, take it into smaller portions or whatever, to where you can distribute it elsewhere, but keep people coming back to the original source? So I would say, first and foremost, learn to, with brevity, to entertain people or inform them or get their attention from the get-go. Right. And one of the things I hear so much on radio now is somebody will start their show and they'll go, later on, we're going to do this. And in 3 hours, we're going to do this. Like, they're not going to be there in 3 hours. In the first 6-7 seconds, you better say something right then that gets their attention right then and keeps their attention until you stop that thought.
Wow. Chatting once again with Mr. Brent Johnson. Brent is a legend here in Columbia, here in South Carolina, as a matter of fact, in radio. What's one thing you wish you would have known, Brent, when you from the time you started to now? What's maybe one thing, one or two things? I'll give you two things that you wish you would have known about radio before you got into it. For an example, like for me, I wish before I got really into it that someone told me I could have changed my name. I didn't find out until I was like deep into my career. I was like, now you guys tell me that, but like, what's one thing you wish you would have known that you know now but didn't know back then, but you wish you would have known a little earlier?
That's a great question. By the way, I like your name.
Yeah,
it sounds like a radio name.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Honestly, most of the things that I think about that I could go back and talk to my younger self about are not actual radio things.
Okay.
They're life things revolving around the pay of radio and things like that. I wish I'd known about talent money earlier, endorsements, things like that. Explored those things, that those were available. Sort of like the new NIL of college sports. But mainly to go back and tell that person, look, things change. You could do a great job in radio and ownership change, and they want their own people in. You know, I was fortunate to I stayed 28 years in that building that was Cumulus and all those things. I was very fortunate, but it's from busting my hump to do that. But I would go back and tell that guy, hey, this train has an end stop on it, and you need to save better.
Wow.
And most of my stuff would be revolving around, I'm not a spendthrift, or I'm not somebody that is out of control. I think I just would have learned more about investments in business. And you know, I'll tell you this, Jamal, I know you've thought of this too, I never, even until probably in the last 5 years ago, thought, why didn't I try to be an investor or an owner? And once I saw local ownership again, it being done so well by my current bosses, I thought, why didn't I do that? I could have done this.
Yeah. Wow. Brent, thank you once again, man. Again, you are one of our honorees for this year's.
I'm honored. I really appreciate it very much.
Yeah, for the Palmetto Media Connections. And we were so, amped and ready to do it in person. But of course, COVID is stopping a lot of events. I recently heard that the NAB down in Florida, they have canceled their annual award show. So I know if they cancel theirs, then this thing is serious. So in any parting words, anything final that you would like to leave with those watching, those who may be wanting to get into radio, those who want to do media, overall, or those who may be fascinated and interested in learning more about, our career as radio, or just life.
Well, first thing I wanted to say, I meant to tell you this earlier. It's like I'm sorry we did have to do this virtual. I'm sure it would have been a fun event, but at the same time, I was able to stay untucked, and you can't see my gut.
Right, me and you both.
COVID-19 for me turned into COVID extra 20. The one thing I'll say is this, and you know this, radio can have its stars and legends or whatever you want to call them, but it's always a team sport. And you cannot have a successful full radio station if you don't invest in other people, teach them, learn from them. Just because you're the boss doesn't mean you can't learn anything. In fact, it's quite the opposite, especially when we got younger employees coming in. If you want to do this right, even at the expense of your own paycheck, sometimes you make sure we've seen this before. You've seen athletes restructure their contracts to get the right people around them. Sometimes it requires that. If you go in with that attitude, you can do this for a long time because people want to work for you and with you.
Wow. Brent Johnson, thank you once again, brother. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for all your contribution to, again, not only in the radio here in Columbia, but across South Carolina, across the world. We appreciate you and for everything you've done. What's a good way for us to contact you and stay connected on social media?
Let's see. Well, my Facebook page at Brent Johnson, at Brent Johnson 88 on Twitter. The station website has contact information for me there too. And I'm always willing to chat with people. And I'm very grateful for those that found the station or listening to it. And I thank you for your time today. And Lauren's a great guy, and I really appreciate him too.
Yes, sir. Brent Johnson, thank you, sir. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you, bud.
All right, what's up, y'all? I'm Jamal Bates, a member of the Palmetto Media Connections team. And this year, we took our annual social event online this year due to COVID-19. And today I have the honor of speaking with an icon in South Carolina, man, all over the country, as a matter of fact. DJ Prince Ice is in the building. What's up, man?
What's up? I don't know about the icon, but I'm just a man that works hard.
You are the living legend, brother. What's been going on, man?
Hey, man, working, trying to spread some good news and good music out here,
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, let's go back, man. You are receiving the Icon Award from Palmetto Media Connections, man. We like to recognize those individuals like yourself who've been doing what you've been doing now for a while now, Ice. And you may have the most recognizable name in South Carolina when it comes to radio and DJing, man. Talk about where it started for you.
Well, I'm honored first to receive the award. Thanks to you, Lauren, and everyone involved. I was born well
by the river, right?
in a little tent
yeah, right.
in New Jersey, and now my mom started me DJing. She says at 3, and I remember 5, playing old Kool and the Gang and others records, Kung Fu and stuff like that. If you remember that song. Fast forward to 7, she had me playing the piano, and the whole family was musical. We write songs, play instruments, but DJing just kept happening for me. So by the time I was in middle school, I was DJing everywhere, and as you get close to graduating high school, I was on tours and stuff, and so everybody like, well, it's time to find a real job. My grandfather was like, you got a real job,
Yeah.
My grandfather said, make it take care of you, boy. And so it has, for the last 33 years of my radio career, and I've been DJing since 5, and let's just say I'm over the half century. So it's been a long time since me and turntables have been friends.
Wow.
And it's a blessing to still do what you love.
Yeah, man. Talk about how you got to where you are now, which we all know you're at the Big DM, and you've been at the Big DM for a little while now. But talk about how you got there, like, because I'm sure did you start at the Big DM or did you start at another station and went to the Big DM?
No, when I graduated in '88, I went to like I said, we moved to South Carolina from Jersey. Found out, had some brothers in Atlanta with the college in Atlanta. My mom said, hey, the Big DM's hiring. I came back to Columbia, started WKWQ, which was a 95.3 then, 32 years ago. Started in radio 33 years ago at Columbia School of Broadcasting in Atlanta. And that's when my mom said, come back. They hiring. So I came back. DM wanted to hire me part-time. WKWQ said, come on full-time. Lasted there about 2 years, and DM said, well, come on, we got something for you. So I started doing, I've got to give respect to dudes. So shout out to Lauren, AJ Savage, and Johnny Green, and, oh my gosh, Andre Carson. All of those guys, and Sam Nelson, they played a pivotal part. Shout out to rest in peace to my brother Harry Palmer, Pure Juice. So many others, DJ Matic, they all helped me develop, and of course with moms and everyone in the community, because that was the key thing everybody said. And even my man Curtis Wilson said, stay in the community. As long as you give and take care of the people, you'll always have a job. And so being about people is the most important thing that I've learned. So this year is 30 years I've been at the Big DM. So 33 years total in broadcasting. So
wow.
TV
I can remember. I'm getting ready to age myself and age you as well, man. I can remember being a little man around here, not too little, but like my teenage years around here, man. And you were one of the people that I heard on the Big DM, man. It was you, and I often joke with Tony G about it as well. Like I grew up listening to Tony G on the Big DM, and now I'm working with him and have an opportunity to share stages with him and people like yourself, man. But 33 years, I remember that whole lineup from back in the day, man. Like it was, I think it was Curtis and Company in the morning, and I think Vanessa did middays for a little while, then Doug Williams did afternoons for a little while. Like all that stuff is vivid in my mind, bro. So you put your stamp, and you did nights. I remember that whole lineup. You did nights, I believe, for a long time, man.
It was a couple of shuffles. You named the schedule a lot. It was Curtis and Company for a while, from Doug Williams to Vanessa Pendergrass, because when it was in middays, Vanessa's in the afternoons.
Yeah.
Then Doug left, and Vanessa went to middays. Paul Jackson took afternoons. Then Tony G took nights, and then I was doing the quiet storm for a while, and then he moved up, and then I moved to the nights, 6 to 10. And meanwhile, I was doing all the weekday shift and mixing on Friday and Saturday nights on Friday Night Dance Party in Club 101. And so I was coming to all the schools DJing. I probably saw a little Jamal back there too.
I'm sure you did. Yeah, I'm sure you did. Yeah, I was kind of running around and hey, pick me. That was probably me. Yeah. Listen, when I remember also, when Hot came into town, that was a very interesting time in the radio as well. When Hot came to town, Hot gave DM a real run for their money, man. And now you guys share the same building and everything. Talk about making the transition, because now you're still on DM, of course, and you're also on Hot. So talk about being able to be on both DM and Hot 103.9 as well.
That was a very significant radio war in South Carolina. It was almost as big as Major Market. They had major market attention because at the time the Big DM was number 3 in the nation. In the nation. Big DM has always been top 5 in the country. They were like number 3 at that point. And Hot came in, hip hop was still day parted. They come with a Foot Locker. It was like I tell everybody, you go to Sears, they sell a few Jordans, and here comes a Foot Locker. And they sell Jordans all day. So that's like how it was. If you hip hop all day, there they were. So they came in and they came for me. They offered me a job. I sat down with them. But when my wife was telling the story, so I real quick sum it up. They took us to dinner, slid a little paper across the table with an offer. I looked at it. I said, "Oh." My wife looked at me like, "What?" And she looked at it. She grabbed my hand and said, "Get up." I said, "What?" Wow. She said, "Thank you all for dinner, but unfortunately, my wife now, cannot accept your offer."
Wow.
Because it was, if you're gonna offer, one thing you learn is if the grass ain't always greener, especially if they're not giving you nothing but a few blades. So you can't leave a big house to go back and start over in an apartment,
Right. That's good stuff,
so
man.
That's what happened in the first drop that Hot ever aired. Notice, they came for DM, but they came for Prince Ice. Their first drop they aired, they ran it 24/7. They said, "Columbia ain't cold no more."
I did hear that. I remember that.
Because everything was keeping ice cold, baby.
And
so they was like, "Columbia ain't cold no more." And then in 2002, they were acquired, and we all came together. And it's been that way ever since, So I've been doing DM and Hot since the early 2000s.
Yeah, man. Listen, real quick, talk about for those watching right now who may be trying to break into radio to have a long career like you've had. Give them some advice. Those watching us right now. What would you say to them?
There's a fiber that's missing in today's everything, and that's called integrity. So have that. Don't let this business, the same way we hear every time we listen to someone give us some good word, is don't let this world's morals become yours. Because that's the key. You can work in a business and be of the business, but not into it to the point it takes you away from who you are and what you stand for. And that goes with anything. You're going to watch people click up. You're going to watch people change to be accepted. It's like being back in high school. People who never did certain things doing certain things. You're like, no, don't do it. So you have to hold on to those very values that got you where you were, because you have to be careful. And longevity is the reward of integrity. That's the phrase I say. Longevity is the reward of integrity. So never give up your integrity.
That's good
God
stuff,
bless
man.
you to get where you are. Remember who got you there.
Love it. Listen, it's been an honor, man, a privilege chatting with you today, brother. For those watching, how can we reach out to you? What's your social media website? And tell us what you're working on too, man, because we know you're always working on something. So all that good stuff.
Well, on all social media, it's at DJ Prince Ice. Got a Prince Ice. The Prince Ice show is coming to TV soon. So on that TV show, we'll be interviewing upcoming artists. But the show's not going to be the norm. We're interviewing positive artists. If an R&B artist, some hip hop, but not. We're not. There's plenty of platforms promoting everything else. We want the people who are trying to make something that you don't have to turn off with your kids. But shoot, we're on, and there's some stuff we can't listen to. Radio. And when I'm not at the radio station, that's why I love playing old school, because you still have some kind of barometer of keeping yourself safe. So look out the Prince Ice Show. Any artists, poets, entrepreneurs, anybody that's doing something positive, that's who's going to be on the show. And of course, releasing compilation. I've got a mixtape compilation called Hands in the Air out now, featuring Angie Stone, Big Bub from Today, Tiffany Day, and a host of other people that are celebrity artists, either in South Carolina or from South Carolina or affiliated some kind of way, because South Carolina still has to get its true recognition. The whole Southern Revolution of music happened, except that with the state with South in its name. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Love it. Love it, man.
That's our role.
Yes, sir. Prince Ice, we love you, man. Congratulations once again. You are one of the recipients of this year's Icon Award, brother, from Palmetto Media Connections, man. Congratulations, brother. We love you, man.
Thanks. Love y'all back. Appreciate it.
Conclude this year's 2021 Palmetto Media Social. I want to congratulate our two Men in Media Icon Award winners, DJ Prince Ice from the Big DM and Brent Johnson from 93.1 The Lake. Thank you for your expertise in the industry and your dedication and service to the community. I want to thank you for watching. You can send your name, contact information, and company you with, so we can stay in touch and keep you informed of what we're doing for the community and others here at Palmetto Media Connection. Our email address is palmettomediaconnect@gmail.com. That's Palmetto Media Connect, CONNECT @gmail.com. Also want to thank the support team of Palmetto Media Connection, Miss Michelle Harris, Miss Sierra Artemis, Miss Marissa Edmonds, Mr. Jamal Bates for an excellent job in hosting, and of course, Jay Johnson for their hard work and effort in putting this event together. And I'm praying for an in-person 2022 Media Social for next year. Now, I have 3 gift cards I would like to give away, and here's how we're going to do this. The first 3 attendees of the social that follow and like the Palmetto Media Connection Facebook page, you will be the winners. So if you go to Palmetto Media Connection Facebook page, like and follow, you would be the winner. I got 3 cards, so the first 3 people that like and follow Palmetto Media Connection on the Facebook page. And of course, somebody from the Palmetto Media Connection team, they'll reach out to you to get additional information so you can receive your card. Let me tell you this, the Lord is good all the time, and all the time, the Lord is good. There's a new radio station on the air. Don't know if you know about it, but I want to tell you about it. It's gospel format, and it's operated by Palmetto Media Connections. Columbia's Praise, 97.9 FM and 1170 AM WDEK, and ColumbiasPraise.com. That's COLUMBIAS, not the apostrophe S, but the S before the A and after the P. Check it out. Let us know what you think about it. You can email us at columbiaspraise@gmail.com. Hey, I'm Lauren T. And again, thank you for joining us. Congratulations once again to DJ Prince Ice and Brent Johnson, this year's Icon Award winner from Palmetto Media Connection. Be blessed and have a great day.